Hey, everybody, welcome to the Sarah Show. I'm Chris, got Joe with me, and Paul is
on assignment.
Yeah, I like that better. We say indisposed, and it just sounds like he has bathroom problems. And that's so
bad. He is not present at this time.
Oh, quick story. I had a tough night with my daughter last night. She had a little behavioral issue. I was running a couple minutes late for work today. So I bring in donuts. I'm thinking, man, I'm going to be a good guy. I'm going to bring in donuts. Do you see McDonald's is selling Krispy Kremes now?
Oh,
so I buy 6 donuts. A couple people in the office like, hey, this is going to be nice. You know how much you charge me for 6 donuts? $11.
Yeah, that's a lot. For 6 donuts?
I bet you I can go to Krispy Kremes now and get 6 donuts for less.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, maybe not.
Not for less than that, I don't think.
Okay. I haven't bought donuts in a while, but I don't know. It's so weird. I mean, I was a good guy and everything, but man, that's a lot of money. So I don't know. All right. Well, on that happy
hold on one second. I'm trying to get this to see if I can see how much they are if you order them online. It's taking a second. It's got the little dots.
Well, the guy excited one night. They were giving out samples, so my kids like that. They're all excited about that. But I don't know. They were like small donuts. I don't know. It just. I mean, I hate to be old man yelling about inflation, but I mean, come on, everybody. This is weird.
I would have to do a whole thing to get.
Yeah, like I'm on the website. My eyes are glazing. This isn't good.
A dozen original dozen glazed is $12.59 here in Mississippi.
Yeah, I mean, come on, it's twice as much at McDonald's.
No, that's just another $1 more for twice as many. Yeah.
Yeah, come on, McDonald's.
But
do better.
You're getting the convenience of not having to stop at 2 places.
Yeah, that's true. I was already running late, so. But man, like what, $6-10 for not stopping at 2 places? That's
because I would think at the grocery store they may be $9 or something like that for a half dozen, which is still weird. Krispy Kreme donuts are lovely. I like them a lot, but they do disappear. Like when they're hot, put them in your mouth and they just melt. They're gone, and that's delicious. It's wonderful. But to have to pay extra for something that is, close to cotton candy, just disappears.
Yeah, it's very true.
They're not hearty at all. It is nothing but sugar fluff.
Okay. Well, I've got some weird stories for you, and I want to start out. I don't even know if we've ever talked in the show because they have not been a thing for a couple of years. But the Duggar family, was the thing for a while. How many kids ended up having? Like 20 kids or 21 or something like that.
I don't know. Too many.
Yeah, and they're don't have a show. Well, their kids had a show for a while, and I think the oldest son got in some legal trouble, and now they don't have a show, but you always see them in the news and everything else. Well, they're just new family, and apparently they've been kind of a thing for a while, but I just heard about them. Christina Ozturk. She's 26, a young mom, but she already has 22 kids. How's that possible?
I don't know. This is a lot.
Yeah, it's a ton. She is originally from Russia. She shares her kids with millionaire businessman named Gallup, and she spends thousands of years. Jeez, I can't talk. Thousands of dollars per year to pay nannies to help her around the clock with her kids. Most of them are her biological children. Gallup has multiple kids from a previous relationship. Oh, here we go. Ozturk has welcomed 22 kids biologically with the help of surrogates. So
Yeah.
by that, are we saying that other people are giving birth? It's not just her?
Yes. So
Okay.
she has not had 22 kids.
All right.
Not her
But,
herself.
but these are her kids that she's like,
She is
responsible for.
responsible for these kids, though they have a bunch of nannies.
All right. So 20 of them were born within a year of each other. So, they got money in the house. And my goodness, holy cow. You think about if your family gets a surrogate, it's maybe one. What a special time. You
I
pick the
mean,
surrogate mother.
you feel like, especially something like a surrogate, is such a it's on the extreme end of intervention that you're wanting to take there, because it's going to be costly. It's going to be a lot of time and energy that someone is putting into this. I mean, and you're part of their lives during it sometimes, and it's just a lot. But to think that you would do this, and so most of the time it's on a last ditch effort. Like, it's people who have the means, but have tried all of the other things that have not worked. And so to think that that you had gone through this purely out of, I don't know, desire to have a TV show or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen nothing about a TV show yet. But man, like you were saying, a surrogate, I mean, it's such an intimate, you're really feeling what the surrogate mom's going through. There's a lot of just, man, a lot of emotions I'm sure that are going into it and everything. Can you imagine running 20 of those relationships in 1 year? I mean, to me, that'd be overwhelming to try to have one relationship with a surrogate, mom or whatever, Man, 20 of these in a year is just insane.
I just honestly can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm feeling tired.
I'm so concerned for this group of children.
Yes.
But clearly they have means, and so one would hope that somebody is effectively caring for all of these kids, but yikes.
Yeah. She was interviewed by Fabulous. I never heard of that publication.
No, me neither, and that's a red flag to me.
Yes.
What? I'm sorry.
Somebody's like basement. Maybe that's my other blog.
Between March 2020 and July 2021, they paid $180,000 to surrogates to help grow their family. That's during the pandemic.
Oh no, yeah, that's true. Well, I guess maybe you have more time during that time. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure, what they do.
With everything that was going on in the world at that particular time.
Yeah.
This was the time to have 20 kids.
Well, I'll put it this way. Our son, he came to live with us during the pandemic.
Sure.
And it was a tough situation. He had nowhere else to go.
Right.
But bringing in one kid during the pandemic was kind of how I should say this. Not a rough time, but emotional time.
It was a rough time for everybody.
Yeah, and that's
what wasn't bringing in a brand new family member, but to bring in 20.
Yeah. Oh,
is a lot.
It's tough. So she's talking to this underground blog or whatever called Fabulous. She dreamed about having a big family since childhood. Okay, I get that. Maybe, yeah. Like I know when you meet your spouse and when you decide to get married, you start thinking about how many kids you want to have, and maybe you sit there and say, "Hey, it'd be nice to have a couple of kids." I know my wife and I don't ever know if we agreed on it, but I think we always talked about like 2 or 3 kids. I get that, but man, 20? That's kind of a red flag.
I'm at the second to last paragraph of this article. And
yeah,
I again got really terrified. The couples decided to wait until their current children are slightly older before beginning another surrogacy journey, which may be necessary anyway, since Galip was sentenced in 2023 to 8 years in prison after being found guilty of illegal purchase and possession of drugs and psychotropic substances.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. And again, I don't want to make fun of families that with people in prison or anything, but you talk about, you feel bad for the kids because, if you're in a family of 20 brothers and sisters, it's hard. What about this dad? I mean, good night. Joe, you have a bigger family. I know sometimes you said that could be tough at times. I got 2 special needs kids. It's tough for me. I feel bad for the poor dad. Now, no reason to possess illegal substances. I'm not making fun of it or saying he's a good guy for doing that, but man, everyone's going through a tough situation. You don't need to have 20 kids. I guess that's my point.
Yeah, that took a turn. I wasn't ready for that.
Well, and I don't know. I remember when the Duggars were really popular, they were in Canton and they did some like church visit and it was funny because like Jim Bob, the dad, gets up and he was like, children are a blessing of God. You should have lots of kids. And I think his wife gave him a look. And he's like, well, if you don't, it's fine. It's kind of a weird theology, where you sit there and say, all right, having lots of kids is godly. Well, some families do, some families don't. But I don't think there's anything about be fruitful and multiply 100 times, And this poor girl, Joe, she wants to have 100 kids.
Yeah,
that's not a big family. I mean,
that's a small town.
Yeah. Shouldn't that be a dream, Joe? That you have enough kids in your family that you can start a small town. How about that?
No,
I don't know.
The American dream.
I spent some time considering the mission field for a while, and I don't remember who this person was, but I read the story. It was interesting. She wanted to have a big family, but her dream was she worked for an orphanage in another country. So in essence, they were her kids, but she never adopted them. See, That's where I think it's kind of cool to have a lot of kids. You're working with these kids; they're part of your work and your life. But yeah, you're not adopting them. They're not all your kids. I don't know. It's tough.
I can't help but think of that when we're talking about spending $180,000 on all of these surrogates and everything, and it's like there are children in the world that need help, that need support, and I just can't wrap my head around it. It doesn't feel like a great idea,
right? And now,
but I'm not being required to do it, so it's not really any of my business. But
if
this is our program, and we're sharing our ideas.
Well, and if the girl, let's say the girl was a guest on the show, why she would come on the show is beyond me. But she's probably like, "Oh, I'm trying to help out a bunch of kids." Well, what if you help other families that would like to adopt kids? So instead of you having 20 kids yourself, wouldn't it be neat? Like, I'm assuming this guy, I know he's in prison now, but he sounds like he's rich or anything. Couldn't you help other families in need, support them? So you don't have 20 kids yourself. I mean, that might create better opportunities for the kids too. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough. All right. Well, Joe, that got a little serious. So we got a little.
It did. They got a little heavy. Yeah. Once he went to prison, I was like, yikes.
So Joe, I want to have levity, but I need you to start. You got to look in the camera, and poor Ray Gunn. Poor Joe making fun of old Rachel Gunn from Australia. She has
no idea. She has no idea.
She had a unique perspective of what breakdancing was. And look, we all do things different, Like basketball. Michael Jordan was a great basketball player. When LeBron became a great basketball player, he didn't do it in the exact same way as Michael Jordan did. He had his own way, Same thing with Rachel Gunn,
But he still had to put the basketball into the basketball hoop.
She
And
put her dancing
therein
shoes on.
lies the relative and connection in greatness between them, is that they still accomplished the same task.
She put her dancing shoes on her feet, just like everybody else.
And that's wonderful. And I'm not saying, and I don't think she should not do it. I think that's fantastic. I think possibly that the stage for her was not the Olympics.
Well, all the naysayers out there, the Joe Frost of the world, everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now Reagan listens to the criticism, and I keep telling people like Ray Gunn, you gotta keep fighting the good fight, no matter what people say. But Ray Gunn is now hanging up her breaking shoes.
Maybe.
Yeah, she's out. She's quitting competitive breakdancing, following the negative response to performances in the 2024 Olympic Games. Now, we've tried to get Ray Gunn on the show. Apparently, we're not big enough for Ray Gunn.
You did not try.
I don't know who her PR person is. Or I don't know.
You sent an email to raygun@weirdbreakdancing.com. That's not the same thing.
It came back.
It came back. This is not a real person
or
forget email address.
Well, she appeared on the Popular, and I know, Joe, when you listen to morning radio, you always listen to.
Oh, that's all I do.
The Jimmy Nass show from Australia's 2-Day FM. Right? That's where we all listen to our morning shows. She says it's become very difficult for her to do now. Poor Reagan. She's 37. She adds she'll only break at home with her partner, but not in the competitive sphere. That's interesting. So she's only going to break romantically or something? Like, I don't know what to break at home with her partner.
Her own house. She's just going to dance because nobody's stopping you from dancing at home.
Yeah. Kind of like the old Queen song, "Don't Stop Me Now." Yeah.
Yeah.
She says dancing is so much fun. It makes you feel good. And I don't think people should feel crap about, the way that they dance. What an inspiring quote from her.
Yeah, but okay. And I feel for that. I'm here for that. I understand.
Okay.
And that's great. I'm not a good dancer. Never have been. So that's not. Yeah. When you sign up to participate in an athletic competitive sport, to go in with the expectation that people aren't going to judge you, that's literally what you're there for.
Right.
Is literally comparing the dancing you're doing to the dancing that other people are doing. We've talked about this multiple times, and I don't fully grasp how she came to be able to perform that routine at an internationally competitive event like the Olympics.
I'll take
without ever once coming across someone who said, that what you're doing is not necessarily at the level of what most other people are doing. I just don't get it, because I did not watch every single event of the competitive breakdancing at the Olympics or at any other time in my life, but I've seen enough to know that there are people out there who do it really, really well. They create dances that are both shocking and inspiring, and they have a sense of spectacle to them and are just really impressive. And I as an untrained judge watching I didn't necessarily see where her moveset was impressive or inspiring in the way that other competitors were. And I have no idea what anybody's supposed to be doing in competitive breakdancing. I have no clue. But there are times where I would watch people and be like, wow, that's kind of amazing and impressive. I don't even know if it's hard to do, but it was something that was worth watching. But to watch somebody who has that you have less of a feel uniqueness to them, you have less of a feeling of, wow, I didn't know that you could move your body in this way and create reactions and responses in a crowd with this kind of music. That's not something that I personally experienced in watching her routine. Trying to say it as nicely as I possibly can, but like,
Yeah, she
I
stinks.
don't want her to feel humiliated, but maybe you should be more aware of the material that your competition is doing and fully prepare yourself to compete at that level if you're going to show up.
Well, I know good podcasting would say, you take one side, I take completely the other side. But
Right.
I'll agree with you for a split second. And here's where I'll agree. Come on, Ray Gun. Okay, if you're.
Did you not see other really great breakdancers in any of the competitions that you did before you got to the Olympics? Did you not see the difference between what you were doing and what other people were doing?
Well, but here's what I'm looking at. If you're in the public eye for whatever reason, like if you're a local politician or if you're an Olympian like Ray Gun was, or whatever the else the case might be, she's pretty much saying she's not going to compete anymore because of the scrutiny. Okay, haha, she sucks, or haha, she's great, however you feel, whatever. She knew she was going to get this. And again, I fully respect those. And there is a mental health thing of it where some people have a hard time with it, and I totally get that. But whenever you put yourself out there, like even in this dopey podcast we do, we're going to hear from people. You know what I mean? I have a podcaster that isn't sure if they want to do podcasts again. They were like, "Oh, I heard stuff from Taylor Swift people," and I'm like, "Okay, whenever you put yourself out there, you're going to hear things from people." And yeah, I want to respect where people are coming from. Like if they have a hard time with criticism, that's fine. They don't need to do that. But like with Reagan, what did she think she was going to get when she acted silly in the Olympics? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and my concern there is that did nobody tell her?
Yeah, okay, you're going to have fun.
I
You're
don't know
going to
why.
be
I'm like connecting this in my head to the people who go on like American Idol, who,
yeah.
God love them, nobody ever explained to them the difference between the sound they make with their face and the sound that other people make with their face. And what you have in your mind is what you sound like is not really what you sound like. And it's hard to do that for people. I don't think Ray Gun is terrible in the way that those people have been fully lied to in their lives. But you have to be aware of the competition that you have when you go in. And I respect wanting to make something that you felt was unique to your background, your homeland. Like supposed to put the kangaroo thing in there, and there's all these other things, but you have to know that in a competition, when you put that up next to somebody who is spinning around in circles on the top of their head while scooting across the floor, it is not going to stand up to that.
But you're going to get criticized. Good night. I was the editor of a small publication, Youngstown, Ohio. Really small stuff. I heard criticism online. So if I'm getting criticism for being an online editor, somebody who's in the Olympics who does silly things, you're going to get criticism. And again, if there's anything going from mental health state, yeah, she's got to take herself. I appreciate where she's at, where she's going from, but she sounds surprised that she's getting criticism. You know what I mean?
I do think that it's probably wise for her to step away from those competitions, right. Because it is going to continue to be like that. It's going to be,
but don't be
so hard to walk away from.
Right, but don't be surprised by it. Like I'm like, yeah, what the heck?
I agree.
But she pointed out the waves of disapproving perceptions of her online that she could not control, and how viral performances that can become. Yeah, okay, yeah, maybe they became more than she thought they'd be at the beginning, but don't be surprised. I mean, come on, it's like, I that's why I don't get about her, and I don't know. Now this is kind of funny. Ray Gun on the popular Ray Gun _ AUS Instagram account. We have a dance contest, the Ray Gun Challenge, Joe. I see you set up your camera so you can film yourself. Think you can outdance Ray Gun. Joe, I'm sure your answer is yes, right?
Yeah.
Well, here's your chance to prove it. They're giving away 5,000 for the best solo dancer, 10,000 for the best dance crew, two or more. Joe, I think maybe you, me, and Paul should. We could probably have a crew where we dance in separate locations. How about that? You create your dance video using the Finder Beat track. You post it with hashtag Raygun Challenge. You tag and follow the group, and you show them your moves. How about this, Joe? We can make some money.
What is the Finder Beat track?
Probably some music. They probably have a website music that you can dance to. And it's probably music that's approved, so you don't get copyright strikes if you're uploading, random dance music. Is my thinking. I don't know.
I don't understand. Anyway,
are you in, Joe? I mean, if you could dance better than Reagan,
I can't. Yeah. Okay. I'm okay. I'm okay with not knowing.
All right. Okay. That's okay. All right. Well, let's move on to our next story. Enough of Ray Gun. I feel like we're adding to Ray Gun.
I'm happy for her to be able to go and dance and enjoy it again. Just go do it.
All right. Okay. So we don't have the draft here in America, thank goodness. But in South Korea, there's a draft. And there's a court in South Korea that found a man guilty. He was trying to avoid mandatory military service by deliberately gaining weight. 26-year-old guy, he was binge eating. And now he's categorized as obese, and he's able to serve in a non-combat role. But because he deliberately gained weight, he has a 1-year suspended sentence. A friend who devised a special regimen to make him double his daily food intake got a 6-month suspended sentence. What do you think about this? So
I'm a little surprised about the 1-year suspended sentence and that there were suspended sentences. Like, I don't know. What else do you think this person is going to do during this year?
Well,
it seems like a unique crime.
Right.
You're not likely to do it again in a year.
He's still serving in a non-combat role. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's good to cheat like that, but making yourself horribly obese, isn't that punishment enough?
Well, I don't know, because I'm a little offended by the fact that their term, the number associated to what would make him heavily obese is 225 pounds.
Yes. Now I'm dead.
I've
lost a lot of weight, but I think I'm like 230, 235. So I'm dead.
Oh, I'm still over that. Like, no. And I've been feeling good about myself too, and now I don't.
I think Korea's got different standards, I think, for weight.
Well, I think he's also probably 5'5", so.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
That makes a difference.
Well, hey, we got RFK now, so look. We're going to make America healthy again. How about that? So
sure.
Yeah.
Do we all get brain worms, or what are we doing?
I don't know. I don't know what I think about this. I'm not pro-draft, but I don't know. It sounds weird if people have to overeat to avoid the draft. I don't know.
I think this was an episode of The Simpsons, right?
Yes.
Homer decided to make himself morbidly obese so that he could work from home.
Yes. I like that.
Yeah. And then something happened, and he had tried to call somebody, and his fingers were too fat to push the buttons on the phone.
My favorite, I don't know, it's too wild of a comment. Maybe it's not my favorite Simpsons, but I always loved the Simpsons when they were trying to get Bart and his friends to join the military. So they had NSYNC concert, and they had some woman that was singing, and it was this mysterious phrase, and it really meant join the Navy. And it turned out that NSYNC was this plan to get everyone to join the Navy. Did you see that one?
I don't know if I remember that one.
You gotta find it, which is so weird.
Simpsons is a strange thing in my history. The first 10 to 12 seasons, I know so well, like backwards and forwards, I could almost perform them for you. But after that, I didn't watch hardly an episode for
This was
the
relatively
subsequent 20 years.
I can't remember what year. I think it was in the before season 10. I'll put it like that. Yeah, it's still on. I think one of the main characters just retired. So I don't know if this means there's no Simpsons, or I guess I'll find somebody else who can voice the character. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I haven't seen The Simpsons for a while. I like the old episodes. I think there's still new episodes now.
Oh yeah, still going.
Wow, that's so strange.
Yeah.
All right. So again, suspended sentence. I know it's not like a real sentence. It's kind of weird that they busted his friend that devised the diet. Man, they're really going after everybody.
Well, I mean, it's
Your accessory.
What would accessory? That would be the American equivalent. Accessory to obesity. Oh man, I can't even imagine what the diet was. I'm so curious, but it's probably American food.
Yeah, I love that diet.
Doubled his daily food intake.
Nice.
That's so much. You'd have to try not to work out too.
That makes me kind of jealous. Like, wow, I'm pretty impressed with this guy. I don't know, it's pretty good. All right, we've got a couple other things to talk about, and Joe, I always give you the hard time because you're the travel guy.
Mm-hmm.
I got all proud when I went to Youngstown once, and you're all over the world. Well, I'm trying to catch up. I went to St. Louis last week, going to DC for a day. So since I'm a travel guy now, I'm starting to read stories about airplanes and airlines and what they offer. Delta is now offering Shake Shack burgers on its flights. You got to be a Prime user. It's not for everybody. I think if you're first class and it's over 900-mile flight, you get food on your flight, so they'll serve that for you. I think also international flights, you get food there too.
Yes.
I don't know. What do you think? Is that a good deal? Shake Shack?
Well, Shake Shack is really good.
Okay.
But microwave Shake Shack, probably not.
Yeah, because
they're not grilling it right there. So
right.
No. I don't know. I suppose it can't be worse than what they otherwise have, but that, yeah, I don't know.
You know what got me? I took a trip for work, and again, don't want to say too much about that part, but my flight over to where I was going, bumpy. It was a pretty good flight, just a little bumpy at parts. Did not get a drink on the flight over. That kind of.
How long was your flight?
Hour, but they said the flight was too bumpy.
Yeah, that's going to be it. I take flights a lot from Jackson to Houston, and I usually get a drink on that flight, but it's just a little over an hour. And if it's a lot of bumps, then no, I can see that happening. I did a cross country flight last summer, going from Seattle to Newark, and there was a period of time, probably somewhere over maybe Ohio, Pennsylvania, where there was a lot of turbulence, and they discontinued the service. And the guy next to me did the call button like several times. Like, they made announcements saying the captain has said that we shouldn't be getting up right now. Is the thing, if the thing's emergency, go ahead and hit the button again. He hit the button again. And when they came down, he asked about, can I get something to drink? They were so livid. And
Oh,
They
God.
started doing some other things that were less than I think appropriate. I didn't really fully catch everything that he said because I was desperately trying to like melt into my seat and not exist at that particular moment.
So they were
But
mad
but
because
it but it wasn't good,
passenger asked for a drink?
huh?
The passenger asked for a drink and they were mad?
Yeah, yes, because they couldn't bring the carts down because they made the announcement 3 times that they had to suspend
Oh,
service because of the turbulence. And they were like, he was like, kept hitting the button, kept hitting the button. And then when he got there, he's like, can I get a drink? I'm like, dude,
oh.
we just told you
You're like, what?
multiple times that we had to suspend the. No, we're not
Okay.
doing that.
I will say I got a drink on 2 of the 3 flights. I went Southwest, and they had a good pretzel.
3 flights. You
Well,
went
there
from
was 3 flights in my
in the whole.
total trip, there and back.
So
And
you went from Columbus to where?
uh,
Was it
I
direct one time?
yeah, I had a direct flight, and I
And
took
where
a
was the third location that you had to
I flew into Chicago on the way back,
Chicago and then back out? Okay, that makes
which
sense.
wasn't bad. It was funny. I've had some bad experiences at Chicago Airport. I went through Midway, and props to Southwest. All of their planes are together.
Yeah,
So, I took a Southwest. I got out of the terminal, looked at my gate number. I'm like, oh, do I have to walk across the airport? I'm like, no, just walk
and
down the
Midway
way.
is not nearly the size of O'Hare.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Midway is fine.
I've gone into Midway before, and it's not that bad.
Okay. Weirdest experience I had with food on a flight. I took a missions trip to Peru and Ecuador. On my way back from Ecuador to the States, international flights, so they give you food. The flight was like 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. It was like an overnight flight.
Mm-hmm.
So we all fell asleep. I got nudged by the what do you call it, the attendant.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, we're late on the food. There was a fire.
I'm
Apparently,
sorry, what?
yeah. I was like, oh, what? Apparently, there was a small like fire in the place they kept the food, but they're like, we took care of it right away. But it was funny because the whole flight was dark. I mean, everyone was asleep. You didn't have to explain it. You know what I mean? I mean, technically, they didn't even have to come around because, again, it's overnight. Everyone was falling asleep, but they had to serve food and they had to explain why. And when you're asleep, you don't know what's going on. It was
Right.
really strange. I don't know.
That just makes you never want to sleep on a plane again. Like,
Yes.
I have no idea what I'm going to miss. Not that I can do anything about it, but
Well,
what if
everyone
this
was so
happens? Oh,
tired. It was hard. I mean,
wow,
they offered
that's
cable service, and I was going to watch cable, but I literally was falling asleep on my seat, going, "Oh, I can't
yeah.
do this."
I've had trouble sleeping on international flights before, but
Okay.
now that I'm getting to be a certain age, it's getting easier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. I had a dream. We had the guy from Rock House, like Christian Entertainment Center, and
Right.
I was joking with him, going, "Hey, if the three of us ever, we're in Ohio at the same time, maybe we should record a podcast down there." You think in the back of a plane, like, I'm like, man, wouldn't it be fun to do a podcast on a plane? There was 3 people sitting right in front of me, and they weren't recording a podcast, but they were loudly talking about everything that we would talk about in a podcast. And I'm like, holy crap, we can never do a podcast because we piss everybody off around us. Because I was kind of
Yes.
at the time.
Unless you find a way for you to wear individual microphones.
Yes.
And have headphones so that you can hear each other, but still keep things pretty quiet. If you could actually get close to a microphone,
and they weren't saying this is acceptance or anything. It was just like, let's talk philosophically about everything. I'm like, oh my gosh. And they were talking about plane crashes.
No,
again,
no,
yeah, don't
this
talk
is
about
not the topic.
Yeah.
No,
like I'm sorry, I'm gonna leave in like a week for a flight. Again, I'm just going one day, come back another. It's really not that big of a deal. But no, I don't want any plane crash talk, or I'm not gonna watch any plane crash movies or anything. Just sorry, when you fly, you don't want anything to do with that. So
yep,
it's tough. All right. A couple other things I wanted to mention. Um, you've talked about Wicked, which is interesting.
Well, I went
Um,
and saw it,
yeah.
so suppose that's a thing.
All right, what'd you think? Was it good?
Well, hey, so I went in. Um, I have, I do not, what, I don't know that much about the story. I mean, I know a lot about Wicked, the musical. I know a lot about the making of it and, the business of it. I know a lot of this kind of information. I've never watched the story, so I've never seen it. I know a couple of the songs. That's about it.
Okay.
And I went in. We went sat down and watched the movie, and right away comes up Wicked Part One,
Oh,
but in like this weird font and whatever else. It's like, oh, that's weird. I didn't really think about it until later on, and I was there for 2 hours and 40 minutes or whatever, and I all of a sudden realized I don't know the story that well, but I do know that the end of the first act of the show, the ending number is the big number at the end of this film. I'm like, well, that's weird. And then it says, part two will be coming. Wicked. Now stay tuned for Wicked Part Two or whatever. I don't know. And I was like, I just got through this 2 hour and 40-minute movie. This is only the first half
oh
of the
geez.
musical. The musical that is also 2.5 to 3 hours long. And I'm still trying to figure out why. Why is it so long? Why? I don't get it. I don't understand what just happened. And a weird part is that the majority of the songs that I do know from the show, I know there's another song that we did not see. I don't know the song, but I know there is another song. I know the title of it and whatever else, and was not in what I just watched. So it's just weird. I didn't know. It's first half. There's a whole nother movie coming out a year from now
Well,
to be the
we're
other
doing
half
this to
of the
make
movie.
money. Yeah, yeah.
I did not know. I did not know that we needed 6 hours of a 3 hour musical. I don't
Hey,
get it. I don't know what's happening.
if you can make money, we'll have like 100 Wickeds. I'm sure. Was it very singable? I saw some
Yeah.
controversy online.
Yeah. I
Everyone
mean,
wants to sing.
it's the musical and it's all of the songs from the musical. So I think there's a couple new songs, but oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know that the intention is that sometime around Christmas time they're going to release a sing-along showing of the film, which I assume the lyrics will come up in the bouncing ball or text that changes color, like when you do karaoke. Like I
Yeah.
think that's going to actually happen. There's been a lot in the opening weekend where I think it was even AMC theaters were like desperately trying to tell people not to sing along. I mean, in the theater that I was in, I saw a 10 a.m. showing. It was 10
Oh,
o'clock in the morning. So I didn't hear a lot of people singing along, but it was 10 a.m. on a Monday morning on Thanksgiving week. So,
okay.
like, I don't think that was going to be the show where everybody sang. Nobody's warmed up yet at 10 a.m.
Are you into singing along at movies? If
No,
it's Wicked and someone else.
no,
Okay, that's
no,
good.
no.
It would be interesting to sing along to a weird movie to sing along to, like maybe humming along to the Schindler's List, the soundtrack or something while it's on or something like that. That
Weird.
probably really weird.
Usually you don't know I mean, do you sing along when a song comes up in the soundtrack?
Yeah,
I think I remember. I think it
just sing
was
along to yourself.
one of the Star Wars, one of the reboot Star Trek movies,
Yeah.
and they're coming out of like an asteroid field or something, and the soundtrack launches into, I believe, Sabotage, by the Beastie Boys.
Oh,
Yeah, I had a hard time not singing along to that. So I understand the impulse, but yeah, I think that's rarer for me than it is for other people to feel like you have to sing along.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah, I was, you caught me off guard there. I was trying to think. I saw Sabotage in another film, and I'm not
Oh,
sure
it was?
where it came from. Yeah, I can't remember
Yeah.
now. Very
They like their
interesting.
money too. They like also the
Yeah,
license that sucker out.
I mean, I'm all for
Great
sharing.
song.
I'm all for shared experiences in a movie theater, like a scary scene if everyone's like, whoa, or if there's a good laugh line where everyone laughs at. But actually, sing along, that's kind of tough.
Yeah. Well, that's why they're trying to do the sing along version next month. I mean, because that's going to be something that what people want to do. But this is a problem that you run into just attending a Broadway show when it's songs that people know really, really well. People want to sing along.
All right. I'm a 21 Pods. It's still a pretty popular band. They were really popular a couple of years ago. They're actually from Columbus. And what struck me was I actually went to see 21 Pods when they opened up for Christian bands in Ohio, when they weren't that big and then they blew up and became such big. What frustrates me about 21 Pods shows now, I haven't gotten to see them a long time, people sing along to all their songs, which would be kind of annoying. Like if you go see fan playing and everyone's singing every song, it's like, why go? Come on. So it's tough. All right, so should we see Wicked? Are you plus minus?
It was really well made. Like the effects and stuff were really good. I don't know.
There is a ton of interesting stuff out there. Robert McCune and I recorded something earlier. We kind of talked about all the interesting stuff coming out on Christmas. Let me bring this up. Well, we have a shared faith. Did you see Netflix is doing I don't know if it's a movie or a series about Mary?
I'm not sure what it is either, but I did just see that it was on there. But I wasn't real clear on it. I just clicked like I want to add it to my list or whatever. So I'm not sure exactly what it all goes into it.
The trailer looks interesting. I'm not going to sit here and endorse it as a shot-by-shot biblical remake. I read about it. It's kind of intriguing. They took the Bible and they took a couple other, they call it non-canonical books, history books that were written around that time. And they kind of tell the story of Mary. Now, obviously, you don't know too much about Mary in the Bible. I mean, the Bible does talk about her, but it doesn't give a lot about her background. So it kind of adds some detail about background and everything. But this kind of goes for its story. Kind of interesting. I'm not sure how accurate it's going to be. They did talk to Christian, Muslim, a couple of religious scholars, I think some Jewish scholars too, and everything. The director said Mary's kind of a cool, hip woman, and we try to take her through what she went through, when the angel appeared to her and everything. Interesting casting choice, though, Joe. Anthony Hopkins plays King Herod.
I dig it.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by it. Like, again, I'm not giving my endorsement like, hey, it's going to be just like reading the Bible. But yeah, it should be pretty interesting.
Well, it never is.
Yeah.
Any of these things really shouldn't be anything that replaces Scripture. But
well, part of the problem is some people in churches, they expect it to be on the mark or it's horrible. Robert also told me, this is kind of interesting. There's Dear Santa, but it's coming out on Paramount Plus. But the kid, by mistake, instead of Santa, spells Satan. So Jack Black plays Satan, and Jack Black comes to try to visit the kid. So that should be interesting.
That could be funny. I like Jack
I'm
Black.
hoping. Give me more funny Christmas movies. That's what I'm saying. So it should be good.
The other thing that I did see come up, but I don't know when it actually happens, but Netflix has started to advertise the next installment of the Knives Out franchise.
Ooh, okay. Well, that's gonna
they said it'll come out next next year, but I don't know when next year.
Yeah, let's space this out a little bit because we got Squid Game coming out. Moana 2 is out. I know it's more of a theater only. And Joe, we got too much to see, man. It's yeah.
They have a cast and crew on it: Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, Andrew Scott, Josh O'Connor, Jeremy Renner, Kerry Washington, Glenn Close, Thomas Hayden Church. That's all on alongside Daniel Craig. So that's pretty amazing. And
Yeah, that's what
Kaylee
nice
Spaney,
out.
who probably plays a significant character in it. Yeah.
Wow. That's gonna be crazy. All right. One other thing you shared with me, I need to ask what the heck's going on here. I get critical, and I know Joe does too when we talk about faith and politics, but now we got faith and football. There's Christmas ornaments where it has Jesus hanging out with mascots of NFL teams. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, this came up. I just forwarded on that thing that I found because it's so crazy that it had to be. Jesus and Snoopy NFL friendship ornaments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, so it's like a little ornament, and it's like a little base that's a football field, and you can get your favorite team, and Jesus is there. And
Okay.
the worst one to me in the advertisement that I saw was the one for the Lions. Don't know why, but the Lions one, he's wearing a crown of thorns.
Oh no.
In a couple of the other ones, he's wearing the helmet of the team that it's for. And the Kansas City Chiefs, it's just Jesus, just him in the robe that actually says Jesus on it, which I don't think it probably did. That's not historically accurate. But the one with the Lions, he's got his robe on, but then there's a jersey that he has over it, and he's wearing a crown of thorns. And that's the craziest thing.
Oh no. So this isn't just not historically accurate. It's kind of crazy and weird stuff.
It's just so.
Jesus wears a shirt saying Jesus like that's kind of strange.
Yeah. Well, it's on his robe. It's not even like a t-shirt or something. It's on his robe.
Oh man. Oh man. So is it on a hey this belongs to Jesus spot? Or is this on a like, hey, look, it's me, I'm Jesus, yeah.
I mean, he's just trying to identify him, I guess.
Wow. That's so strange.
Oh.
How much does this cost? Is there a price on it?
Well, that ad, and I'm not 100% sure it's, real, but yeah, I don't see a price.
Okay. The company is Teriup, Teriup.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a real thing.
Yeah, I'm doing a search. I saw someone posted Charlie Brown and Snoopy Peanuts Christmas scene, so maybe they're just doing.
Oh, this is real. They're $13.
Oh, okay. Assuming all teams are available.
The one with the Steelers, it's Snoopy's wearing a Steelers helmet that doesn't have a face mask.
Oh,
and Jesus is just Jesus, but he has, how the Steelers in the white away jerseys has the yellow ring around the sleeve. That's at the end of the sleeve of Jesus's robe. But he doesn't have a crown of thorns.
Oh man.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If the Steelers one had a crown of thorns, I would buy it.
Yeah. Is this done by the same
right now while I was on the air with you? I would buy it.
Really?
The Browns one has a crown of thorns.
I think the same group that did this is a group that wrote the Jesus versions of all the movies that we talked about, right?
Oh my gosh,
fascinating.
This is so bonkers.
Maybe I should buy one of those too. I don't know.
I'm so disappointed that the Steelers one doesn't have it.
Well, if you want to support us, we'll put a link on there. If you want to buy us some, yeah.
If you want to buy us,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah, don't give us money. Just buy us these crappy ornaments and that'll be great. No, just give us money. How about that? And we can choose if we want to buy an ornament with our money or not. So fascinating. All right. Well, Joe, this is good, man. Happy Thanksgiving. I know we're taping this on Thanksgiving Eve. Really appreciate to get sappy for a split second. Really appreciate you guys who do this. I tell Joe and Paul and the other people I do this with, doesn't matter to me if we want more people to listen, as always, but it's just a good way for us to stay connected. I mean, Joe's in Mississippi, I'm in Columbus. We probably wouldn't see each other other than that. So it's really cool to get together with this. And thank you, man. I really appreciate what you're doing. It's great to stay connected with you. So thanks. Yeah. I know it sounds like a famous last words, like thanks, but we're shut down. Boom.
We're done. This is over.
No, it's just a nice way of just saying thank you. So should be good. Lots of other content coming up. I know with travel schedules and the holidays, we got some best of episodes coming when we don't have new content, but we still have a bunch of new content to get through. Thank you for everybody for listening. Give us a like, subscribe, and just share us with your friends. This is just kind of a fun journalism hobby, and it's fun trying to entertain ourselves and you guys as well. Joe, anything else going on? Anything else?
No, right now we're just sort of living through this this week. We just got a bunch of work done on our house where we replaced all of the plumbing from our house, underneath our house, all the way out to the road.
Oh, wow.
So they had to tear up our driveway and everything. So it meant for the past 2 nights we've been staying in a hotel and trying to entertain all of the kids during all of this. Yeah.
My daughter would be so jealous. I know you're going through some tough times with your sewage and everything.
Yeah.
My daughter loves hotels, though. She'd be like, yes. May our sewage never get fixed. So
we didn't have a bad time. We picked a hotel with an indoor pool. So, we were able to do that. And then we took a day trip to Hattiesburg, Mississippi, which has a couple of cool things. We went to their zoo, which is reasonably priced and actually very well kept up and kind of cool. And then we visited the Pocket Museum in Hattiesburg.
Okay.
It is an alley that is right next to their big theater, the Sanger Theater. So the Pocket Museum itself is a window, and behind it there's a little display of small figures. But then the entire alley is all cleaned up, and there's doors that are painted. One door is painted like the door from Friends. There's different doors and things that are painted all the way up and down the alley. And then everywhere in the alley where there's pipes or some other crack in the wall or whatever, there's tiny little figurines that they've hot glued into these to make little scenes all up and down the alley. So it's kind of a fun little cool thing to go and do, and it's free. So it was pretty awesome. Just a good way to kill about an hour to go do that thing and then spend a couple hours at the zoo and then drive back home.
Since I'm traveling more, I like to go see more things. I got a chance to see some good things in St. Louis. It was a busy week. I'm trying. Next week in DC, we're just coming in and out quick, but we're going to try at least to drive by the Capitol building and the White House.
Yeah.
I've never been by the White House. I've been to DC once before where I saw the Capitol building, but I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. We'll have an Uber, so we need to sit and say, hey, can we stop by here and can we step out and take a picture too? And then we'll get right back in. I'm sure we can figure out a way of doing that. So
I'm sure doing that at the Lincoln Memorial would be a good thing, because you can do the Lincoln Memorial, turn around, and then have the rest of them all up to the Capitol in another shot. So you get 2 nice shots in one stop.
Well, here's our trick. We have an event the night before. Our flight leaves at 11. So the guy
that's pretty quick.
Yeah, the guy I'm going with, I said, look, he's like, I wouldn't mind seeing some of those places. I'm like, well, we gotta get up early. We gotta get to the airport by 11. So if we can leave the hotel at 8, we probably have some time, but we'll have to see. So, all right. Sounds good. So yeah, check out our stuff, our podcast. Check out everything. Paul, I know with the holidays has been a busy time for him. Check out his church. It is, and Joe, help me out. I'm blanking on the name of his church now. Oh, Crosspoint Alliance in Akron. I like to share his stuff from our social media, but it's there. Just go to Crosspoint Alliance Akron. You can hear Paul's services and everything else. Again, busy season for Paul, but he's going to try and make it as much as he can during the busy season as well. All right, Joe. Well, thanks, man. We got through it. I'm getting a little tired, but hey, it's 11:38. We're not doing too bad. So let's close while we're ahead. For Joe. Good. And Paul, wherever he's at, this is Chris. Thanks for checking us out. Have a great night, everybody.